the show.
The show.
What's up, Mick?
What's up?
Chilling, man.
We started?
The actual show, no, not yet.
Nah. See, I gotta stay on my toes with you. Never know. But yeah, boring. I gotta say, man. Besides Valentine's, it's been a boring week.
Why?
It just has. Nothing's really happened.
Really? Nothing?
Nothing I can think. And I haven't been watching news a lot. I've been keeping my head out of the intranet.
Why have you been?
No, just you go to work, you come home, go to bed,
Yeah.
start the next day.
That's life, man.
It is.
Well, what's today's show about?
I'm doing Black History Month. It's going to be about what are we calling it? Have we decided on a title?
Who are our heroes?
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Oh, man. Sharing this and getting this out there is so complicated. Boop, boop, be doop.
Boop.
Ready to get the show started?
Let's do it.
Let me go in. All right, silence. Oh, crap. Let me redo this. Man, what is up with technical difficulties today, Mick?
We usually don't have that bad of technical difficulties, but
No, it's always quick fix.
yeah.
Always usually is. All right.
Okay, I'm ready.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Question Everything Guys with your host Sean.
The Mick.
What's up, Nicholas?
What's up, man?
How's it going, bro?
It's going pretty good.
What's today's episode about?
We're doing Black History Month, our American heroes.
Who are our heroes?
That's right.
Man, this is going to be such a great episode.
Yeah.
So we decided we were going to cover 3 people that personally influenced each of us, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to have a total of 6 people that we're going to discuss today that we are celebrating for Black History Month.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we each before the show showed our 3 to each other, and I have 3 that are more in the now. You have 3 that I have never heard of.
They're definitely dead and gone, but they should, without a doubt, be celebrated.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you want to kick it off? You want to start first?
Yeah. I'll take mine. The first person I wanted to talk about. One of the people that I grew up with in my childhood, the old Mr. T.
Mr. T.
Mr. T, man.
Mr. T is a black hero for you?
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Oh, Clubber Lang?
Clubber Lane, man.
A-Team?
Yeah, B.A. Baracus. Hell yeah, dude. Yeah, man, but
why don't you tell us a little bit about Mr. T?
well, I chose him, man, because I grew up with him. Like, he probably was one of he was like a childhood, he was the hero, like he was like in the A-Team. He's Pity the Fool.
A pity fool.
But I mean, he grew up in Illinois, and I think he was one of 12 kids growing up, and he had a hard childhood. And a lot of people don't know, before he became famous, he was a bouncer, he was a bodyguard, and then he found fame movies, and he had the iconic look. You know, he had the mohawk, and you think of Mr. T, you think of this guy. He had this mohawk and chains on his neck.
Yeah, the stack of gold.
Yeah, man. I mean, this guy had his own cereal.
Did he really?
Yeah, Mr. T.
I don't remember that.
I think it was like Captain Crunch.
Dude, that's freaking epic. I don't remember Mr. T's cereal.
Yeah, man. But I remember, growing up watching the A-Team, and that was like one of my favorite shows. And now he was in WrestleMania a couple times. He did wrestle.
The Hulk.
I don't remember too much of his wrestling career growing up, but I do remember him on TV. And on kids shows, they would always have references to Mr. T, or Mr. T he was an icon.
Right.
I mean, even in I remember World of Warcraft. I remember he was in the commercials. He's like, I'm a level 70 Mohawk.
Yeah.
So he was in everything. He's been in everything from when I was young till he still makes appearances now. Now though, if you look at him, he doesn't wear all those gold chains anymore. And I was reading something about when Hurricane Katrina came through, he went to go help clean up. And, he's seen the heartache and the loss of the people. And, he said he couldn't see himself helping with all this gold chains around his neck, nobody else having nothing. And he's a born-again Christian, and I think that played on him, and it kind of made him take a look at himself and his image.
Really?
So yeah, when you see him now, you'll still see him with the mohawk, but you won't see him with the gold chain.
Does he still have the feather earring?
You know what? I think he does.
That's crazy.
I think the last time I saw him, I think he was wearing the earring.
That's awesome.
But yeah, just a really, really down to earth, good guy.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about him?
Well, he had, like I said, he had a pretty bad childhood growing up. He had a lot of brothers and sisters. And he was born in 57, so he was in that. They had a lot of racial tension, in the town, and he experienced that, and that played on who he was. But growing up out of that and getting into trouble and having opportunities to take jobs, like when I read about him, it sounded almost like the mafia. Like people wanted to hire him to be a hitman and stuff like that. Yeah, like he was. Yeah, it's really crazy stuff. And him going from that to changing his life around to who he is today is just amazing. And now he, I think he still lives in Illinois. He has a house in Illinois. But yeah, just a really, really great, inspirational person. From when I grew up. But Mr. T, man, you gotta, everybody loves Mr. T. Everybody.
I guess.
That was the first one I wanted to talk about. That was, because I grew up with him.
Right.
Mine's
pretty interesting. You're going to love mine.
What you got?
The first black person that I'm celebrating this month is Doris Miller. Do you know who that is?
No, I don't.
Have you ever seen the movie Pearl Harbor?
Yes, I have.
Do you remember the character Cuba Gooding Jr. played?
Yes, I do.
The cook?
The dude that got on the gun.
That's Doris Miller.
No shit.
Yep. Doris, or Dory Miller, was born October 12, 1919. He was an American sailor in the United States Navy. He manned anti-aircraft guns during the attack on Pearl Harbor on December 7th, 1941, for which he had no training of these guns. Zero training.
He just jumped on it and started going.
Absolutely. And he also tended to the wounded. He was recognized by the Navy for his actions and awarded the Navy Cross.
Awesome.
He was the first black American to be awarded the Navy Cross, the third highest honor awarded by the Navy at the time, after the Medal of Honor and the Navy Distinguished Service Medal. The Navy Cross now precedes the Navy Distinguished Service Medal, so it's the second highest award.
Wow.
Miller's acts were heavily publicized in the black press, making him an iconic emblem of the war for black Americans. Nearly 2 years after Pearl Harbor, he was killed in action when his ship, Linscomb Bay, was sunk by a Japanese submarine during the Battle of Macon. On January 19th, 2020, this year, a few weeks ago, the Navy announced that CVN-81 would be named after him. It's a Gerald R. Ford class aircraft carrier scheduled to be laid down in 2023 and launched in 2028.
Awesome.
This dude was a badass.
Dude, he sounds like it.
He was a cook. He was a kitchen member, and he found out that they were under attack. He came out, got on the guns, and shot down kamikaze pilots.
That's crazy. That takes balls, man.
Dude, that is freaking awesome. Now, do you understand why I picked him?
Yeah, man. Because this dude was just down there peeling potatoes,
Absolutely.
and then shit hit the fan,
And
he grabs a gun that he's never
no,
operated.
no, he
before.
didn't grab a gun.
We got on a gun,
He got in a gun.
a
yeah.
gun, and just laid down the law.
Absolutely. He did pass away at the age of 24. He was killed in action, which kind of wish this man was still alive.
Man, yeah, that's something.
Great hero.
Yeah, now I see why they portrayed him in the movie.
Absolutely. He was definitely worth portraying.
Absolutely.
Who's your second one?
My second one that we've all heard of, I've even talked a little bit about him, is Ben Carson. And the reason I chose Ben Carson is he is like the textbook story of when all your chips are down and the cards are against you, you overcome and become great. Greatness is just brought up in that. And Ben Carson, he was born in 1951. He is an American politician and author and a neurosurgeon. And let's see, he's a United States Secretary of House and Urban Development right now, since 2017 under the Trump administration. I think he actually ran for president too.
Yeah.
During that presidential running. He is a Republican. He is a strong conservative, a very strong conservative. But he is, let's see, where was I? Had all these outlines on. He was born in Detroit, Michigan. He graduated from Yale University, and he went to the University of Michigan Medical School. Let's see here. He wrote numerous books in his medical career and on his political stances. He is portrayed by Cuba Gooding Jr. Here's Cuba Gooding. We should have had Cuba Gooding on here.
Absolutely.
In his 2009 biographical television film drama. Let's see. He was a director of pediatric neurology at Johns Hopkins Hospital in Maryland. And if I remember right, he was the first surgeon to separate the Siamese twins that joined at the head.
Really?
He was the first one to do that. Yeah.
That's pretty badass.
Yeah. He grew up. I think his mother was 13 years old. Yeah, really young. She was a dropout herself, and his mother, being uneducated, had instilled in him how important education was.
Right.
And once again, we see a person in a situation to where their life, if they wouldn't have put in that effort to do better, would have just been another statistic, and he wasn't, it was because of his mother and instilling in him the importance of an education. He went from a horrible childhood to being the great person he is today.
Absolutely.
That's why he's my second pick.
Well, I'm going to get on to my woman. This woman you've never heard of, and I don't know why. Her name is Claudette Colvin. On March 2nd, 1955, at the age of 15 years old, she was arrested in Montgomery, Alabama for refusing to give up her seat to a white woman on a crowded, segregated bus. This occurred 9 months before the Rosa Parks incident.
I was just about to ask you about that. I thought it was Rosa Parks.
9 months before Rosa Parks. Secretary of the local chapter of the NAACP helped spark the 1955 Montgomery bus boycott. Colvin was one of 5 plaintiffs in the first federal court case by civil rights attorney Fred Gray in 1956 to challenge bus segregation in the city. She testified before the 3-judge panel that heard the case in the United States District Court. On June 13, 1956, the judges determined that the state and local laws requiring bus segregation in Alabama were completely unconstitutional. For many years, Montgomery's black leaders did not publicize Colvin's pioneering effort. She was an unmarried teenager at the time and was reportedly impregnated by a married man. Colvin has said young people think Rosa Parks just sat down on a bus and ended segregation, but that wasn't the case at all. It is widely accepted that Colvin was not accredited by the civil rights campaigners at the time due to her pregnancy shortly after the incident. So this woman did something amazing to help in segregation, and because she was an unmarried teenage mother, she received no credit. 9 months before the Rosa Parks incident.
And then Rosa Parks just comes right behind her. And it's like, I can do that.
Right.
I can just get on the bus.
Well, the thing with Rosa Parks, she had worked, man. I think it was she had worked all day and her feet were killing her, and she just did not want to move. Like, she was just exhausted. And so that's what sparked the Rosa Parks thing. And that, I want to say that happened in Atlanta, correct?
I want to say, yeah. But you know what? Now that you tell me about her, I'm starting to think, was Rosa Parks, was that like a thought up thing now? They say, hey, we need to find somebody. This happened. This other lady did this, but we can't because she's an unwed mother and it's not going to go over. We're going to find somebody else to do it. Telling you, man.
No idea.
Rosa Parks stole the idea.
I don't know, but Claudette Colvin definitely deserves credit.
Yeah, absolutely. Heck yeah. Cool, man. Yeah, I didn't even know that. I didn't even know somebody else did that before her.
Yep. And the thing with her, like, because she was 15, I guess she didn't receive, as much of the credit as she should have, And I guess because Rosa Parks was a full-grown adult, I guess that's why that kind of blew up.
This is starting to. I'm starting to see a pattern, though. You notice all these people. They either were mothers very, very early in life, like 13, 15 years old. That's crazy. I mean, I'm not saying that doesn't happen today, but that's nuts.
It is.
Something, man.
She retired a nurse's aide.
Okay.
So she was an educated woman.
Is she still alive?
That I did not find any info.
Gotcha. Well, I'm going to go on to my last one. And my last one, this guy is sort of in the now times. He's nothing new in YouTube. If you watch YouTube, you know him. And if you have if you're in the NRA, you know who he is. But his name's Colin Noir. And he's a black guy. He was born in Houston, Texas.
Oh, Southern boy.
And he's our age, man. He's about 30, 35, 36 years old. And he grew up in Houston. And he's an American civil rights activist. He's a lawyer and host of web series Noir. And he's one of my shows that it's on YouTube that I have notifications on, absolutely. And he has over 121 million views on YouTube channel as of September 2019, and over 1 million subscribers to his channel as of September 2019. In 2013, the NRA recruited him to appear in NRA news videos, and subsequent months later that year, he appeared at its convention in Houston. Since then, he has become the NRA's most prominent black commentator, as The Guardian described him in 2017. Noir was born Collins. I'm bad with the last names, man. He's Iria Eldheen Jr. and only child. His parents were executive chief and registered nurse, both of whom immigrated to the United States from Nigeria. He spent his former years in Houston, Texas. Noir graduated from high school in Houston and went to earn a political science degree from University of Houston and a DJ degree from the Thurgood Marshall School of Law at Texas Southern University, also in Houston. He first became interested in guns while a student at the Thurgood Marshall School of Law. And I think he's kind of like one of these guys that he grew up having that, anti-gun view. And then he was one of the few that actually said, like, maybe I should know a little bit about it before I hated it.
Right.
And then he experienced it, and then started educating himself on, on our rights, and as being a lawyer, what our rights are, and started seeing what people were trying to do, like take our gun rights.
Right.
And he sees what we see that's happening today, that they're trying to take our guns.
Yeah.
And he's been one of the strongest, probably the strongest fighter of our Second Amendment rights than anyone I've ever seen right now. Absolutely. But that's why he's my number 3 today.
That's pretty good. So is he, I mean, he's conservative. He's got to be a constitutional conservative.
Yeah.
Man, he's racist.
Yeah.
According to Democrats, he is racist.
That damn racist.
Wow.
Next thing you know, he's going to be a white nationalist.
Oh, man. Those people are stupid, too. Dude, oh, my God.
No, but have you ever watched his show?
No,
dude,
honestly,
you gotta check it out.
This
you gotta
evening.
check it out. Everybody listening to this, you gotta check out his show. Awesome show. Make you think.
I want to take a break just for a moment. I want to give a shout out to Attitude Podcast Network. You can find us on Facebook. It's a network with some indie podcasts like ours. I'll let you give the first shout out, Nick.
Oh man, Bigfoot for Breakfast. That's my fave.
Who hosts it?
Oh, that's Samantha and
Sarah.
Yeah, Sarah. Samantha and Sarah.
Their show is on the mysterious, the macabre, the supernatural, and the cryptid. If you're into this sort of thing, definitely check out Bigfoot for Breakfast.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have you checked out my favorite yet?
What's your favorite?
MWP. I mean, my favorite's a question everything, guys, but MWP podcast.
That's with Josh and
Chach.
Yeah, Chach, dude. Chach cracks me up, man.
They are so funny.
That
MWP
dude cracks
podcast,
me
man.
up.
They talk about music, movies, wrestling, and politics, and just day-to-day current events, day-to-day life. Definitely check out their show. And our biggest star of the Attitude Podcast Network, it seems to be, is the Kensington Corner.
Yeah, he's always winning awards and all kind of crap. What's up with that?
He is, or they, Tom and Jeff, they host a show called the Kensington Corner, and they talk about, all different types of topics, but it's mostly manly topics, day-to-day life as a man, the mental capabilities, process, stresses of being a man, and also of being a veteran and a current soldier.
It's from a veteran's point of view.
Well, yeah, Tom is a veteran.
Yeah.
But they're ranked number 78 on Apple Podcasts.
Yeah, man, that's awesome, man. That's really
Their
awesome.
show is freaking growing. Love their show. I haven't listened to their newest one. They just put one out yesterday. I got to check it out probably tomorrow. But definitely check out the Kensington Corner.
Absolutely.
You want to tell everybody about my other show?
Oh, Altered Thought.
Yeah, I'll let you give the description.
Yeah, Altered Thought. It's a podcast where you talk about it's just all kind of different things from science and theory, and it's a non-political podcast, and I tell you, I listened to that first one you had. Was it DMT you're talking about?
DMT, dimethyltryptamine.
Yeah, man, and that was a good one. But the Mary Magdalene one was good too. I like that one.
Thank you.
But yeah, great podcast.
Thank you,
Check
sir.
Check it out.
On to my last black hero. And this guy is actually a personal hero. I didn't really have to look him up. I already knew about him. And I knew about Doris Miller a little bit, but I did have to look at Wikipedia on him. But
Doris Miller.
Yep.
Doris Miller. The name rings a bell.
That's because I already covered him. That was the Pearl Harbor guy, the gun guy, the kitchen guy.
Oh, yeah, okay. Who's your guy now, though?
The last guy, his name is Henry Johnson,
Okay.
a World War I hero.
Gotcha.
William Henry Johnson was born July 15th, 1892, and died July 1st, 1929. Commonly known as Henry Johnson. He was a United States Army soldier who performed heroically in the 1st African American unit of the United States Army to engage in combat in World War I. On watch in the Argonne Forest on May 14, 1918, he fought off a German raid in hand-to-hand combat. He fought off a German raid in hand-to-hand combat.
Dude was wild.
Dude was a monster. He was a beast. Killing multiple German soldiers and rescuing a fellow soldier while experiencing 21 wounds.
Jesus.
21.
They're fighting him.
This dude was a freaking beast.
God, man.
This is a true American hero.
That dude is, man. That dude. That I have no words.
On June 2nd, 2015, he was awarded the Medal of Honor by President Barack Obama in a posthumous ceremony at the White House.
Wow.
In 1918, racism against African Americans was a common among white U.S. soldiers in the U.S. military, but French attitudes differed. Johnson was recognized by the French with a Croix de Guerre with star and bronze palm, and was the first U.S. soldier in World War I to receive the honor.
Wow. So a whole nother country had to recognize him before we did.
Right.
That's sad.
It is absolutely sad.
But it is awesome though. It's awesome that happened.
And this is the part that really hurts me. This is actually still a problem in 2020 right now. Johnson died poor and in obscurity in 1929.
Mm-hmm.
A U.S. veteran, no matter the color of his skin,
Yep.
died poor in obscurity.
Yeah, it shouldn't happen.
From 1919 on, Henry Johnson's story has been part of wider consideration of treatment of African Americans in the Great War. There was a long struggle to achieve awards for him from the U.S. military. He was finally awarded the Purple Heart in 1996. In 2002, the U.S. military awarded him the Distinguished Service Cross. Previous efforts to secure the Medal of Honor failed, but in 2015, he was given the Medal of Honor.
He deserved that shit.
Dude, absolutely.
Dude.
This guy fought a German raid, okay? A German raid.
Yeah.
That's like a small platoon. Not a platoon, but with a company, I guess, or whatever. Hand-to-hand combat. This guy had 21 freaking wounds.
Dude, that's Chuck Norris shit right there.
Henry Johnson is Chuck Norris.
Dude, they should make a movie. This guy and Chuck Norris, and it's called The World's About to End.
Yeah. He did actually get recognition when he died. He's buried currently in Arlington National Cemetery. He died at the age of 36.
Yeah, I know, but it still bothers me. And it's not just him. There's a lot of heroes out there that some of them we just still know their story.
Right. This guy's story, because like you hear, I mean, it's not just blacks in World War I and World War II, but you hear about like these heroics. You know, this one person rescues like 6 people, and you know they call in an air raid, or they call in bombers, or you know, there's always guns. The thing that's special about this guy, he fought a German raid in hand-to-hand combat and won by himself. One guy
was injured 21 times.
Yeah, this guy was freaking awesome.
So he just whooped their ass, saved his buddy,
right,
and pretty much won
walked
the day.
Out.
Yeah,
walked out. This dude is a freaking hero.
That dude's crazy awesome.
Right? Now, you know, we covered our 3 heroes. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I did save the best one for last because Henry Johnson is a freaking icon. What are some other notable black people that you think should be recognized?
Oh, you're catching me off guard here. I'm not thinking.
I mean, we know the Rosa Parks, the Martin Luther Kings, the George Washington Carvers. We know those people.
Yeah, I think you know this isn't just one person. This is a group of people. The Tuskegee Airmen,
absolutely.
You know, hands down. I didn't, and I didn't pull up the numbers, but I think they're the only squadron of fighters that protected bombers that didn't lose one.
Right?
Am I right on that?
I think so.
Yeah. So I mean that is an accomplishment of its own. That will never be replicated. Well, we don't use bombers and fighters like that, but anymore. But in that time, I mean, that's just amazing.
I have a list of the 5 most forgotten black heroes. I'm gonna go through them. Do you mind?
No. I
want to give full credit to biography.com. This is on biography.com if you guys want to look it up. But the first one is Mary Ellen Pleasant. She was an entrepreneur and activist. She was born a slave in 1810s Georgia, but it's equally possible that she was born free in Philadelphia. We do not know that she was indentured early in life to a Nantucket shopkeeper from whom she learned the basics of running a business. She also learned about the abolitionist movement. Since the shopkeeper's family were diehard abolitionists, a marriage to a wealthy free landowner named J.J. Smith, who was also an abolitionist, both solidified her fortune and advanced the cause. The Smiths worked to help slaves escape to the North and funded abolitionist causes. So she actually helped figure out how to get slaves free to the North.
That's cool. Oh, I remembered one. This was going to be one of the ones I did today, but I decided to do Ben Carson. George Washington Carver. Okay,
I love that dude.
This dude,
I love that dude.
Came up with like 1,000,000,001. He should have wrote like 1,001 ways
to use a peanut.
To use peanut. He did not invent peanut butter.
Wait, what?
He did not invent peanut butter.
Are you serious?
Peanut butter was invented by some other guy, and if you want to call it a person, I have to pull his name up. He actually made peanut butter as a I want to say as a protein supplement for people who had trouble eating, but they say peanut butter was actually developed by the Aztec Indians.
Really?
If you really want to go back in time, I have not done research on that. This is just things that I've read here and there. But yeah, I think that's an accomplishment. How can you? What are those other things? How you can make peanuts? I didn't pull that up. I'm gonna have to go back and check that out.
Well, the next one I want to touch on is another woman. Since when everybody thinks about Black history, it's usually the same couple of women, and then a galore of Black men. But Bessie Coleman, you ever heard of her?
I've heard of that name.
She was a pioneer pilot.
That's why I know her. That's why I've heard of her name.
Jesse Leroy Brown.
He sounds as a soldier.
Navy pilot.
Navy pilot.
Guess where he was born?
Was it near us?
Mississippi.
Oh, Mississippi.
Matthew Henson. Do you know who that guy is?
Matthew Henson. I haven't heard of Matthew Henson.
He was one of the first Black Arctic explorers.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. What's the contributions to the Arctic explorers? I mean, what?
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Would you go explore the freaking Arctic?
Hell no.
There's your contribution. Dude, you got to think of like the most uninhabitable climate. And,
yeah, nothing lives there.
Terrain.
Nothing lives there but snow.
And ice.
Yeah. And I think penguins.
Yeah.
Is that penguins?
Well, yeah. Well, penguins live in Antarctica. The Arctic's up north. There's a difference.
Mm-hmm. But aren't there penguins down there?
There's penguins in Antarctica, not Arctic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. South Pole.
Gotcha. There still could be penguins there.
William H. Hasty, one of the first Black judges. There's quite a few Black people that are forgotten because, like, one of our viewers commented Malcolm X, and Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, Harriet Tubman, they are all celebrated even to this day. We're talking about people that are not celebrated, people that just tend to be lost in history.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole point of this was to bring light to other Black heroes other than the ones that people know.
Yeah, that you don't talk about every day. Well, mine's not that. Everybody knows mine. You did good though, man.
You
did really good.
Henry Johnson, I saved him for last for a reason because man, he was so freaking.
Yeah, that dude's awesome.
He was.
But going back to World War One, I bet there are so many stories that haven't been told in that war. That is a war you don't hear about. You hear about World War II. You hear about Vietnam, which wasn't a war. You hear about that all the time. You hardly hear about anything in World War One or Korea.
Yeah.
So the stories that we have never heard of people who've done amazing things,
One of our viewers said Neil deGrasse Tyson. He's another one.
Yes, he is one of one that I would say he was. I was actually going to have him on my list, but I chose differently.
Right. This one, I just read the story. This is on ArcadiaPublishing.com. This one actually kind of pisses me off. Like I'm legit getting hot sitting here reading this. Reese Taylor. Reese Taylor's story, though unpleasant, served as one of the first foundations for racial activism. While returning home from church in 1944, Taylor was abducted and sexually assaulted by 6 white men before being abandoned on a roadside. So they freaking beat the hell out of her, raped her, and then just left her.
The animals.
Her case, and its neglected by the Alabama government, soon brought the attention of the local African American community and national NAACP. While Taylor's case was dismissed twice in court, twice, it is now considered a major step in the formation of the civil rights movement.
Yeah.
I bet you nobody's ever heard of her.
I haven't.
George Washington Carver.
That's my boy.
We talked about him.
That's old Peanut.
Fred Jones. Inventor Fred Jones's contributions during his lifetime were monumentous and can be felt to this day. A naturally gifted mechanic, Jones was self-taught, which helped him to invent a portable air conditioning unit for trucks in 1938. So you're driving around in the middle of this summer, think this man.
Yeah, that guy.
This guy invented the freaking auto air conditioner. Shirley Chisholm. Shirley Chisholm was determined as a politician as she was an educator, the first black woman elected to Congress. I mentioned William Hasty, one of the first black judges. I mentioned Matthew Henson. Okay, here I want to get a little bit more into Matthew Henson because we're talking about one of the first black Arctic explorers.
Wait, but before you do that, I got a shout out.
Okay.
Got a shout out for Lonnie Johnson, inventor of the Super Soaker.
Really?
Yes, sir.
That's pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Matthew, dude, the Super Soaker?
The Super Soaker.
Like the thing that we used to run around with?
Yes.
Dude, that's pretty awesome.
Yes, sir.
All right. Matthew Henson, although history largely ignored Matthew Henson until the late 20th century, his contributions in the field of exploration have made him a significant name today. A gifted seaman, Henson spent many years as a cabin boy where he learned principles of navigation and other vital knowledge to working as a crewman. Henson later went on to accompany Commander Robert E. Peary to his many expeditions to the Arctic, including the 1909 expedition where their team discovered the North Pole, and Henson planted the American flag on the North Pole.
Awesome.
So, yeah, that dude, I don't know, dude. I want to put him up there with Henry Johnson.
Yeah.
Like, that's badass.
It is.
Because there's no way I'm going to the freaking Arctic.
Hell no. Well, no. You know, I mean, if they had, like, heaters.
Dude, do you know what the temperature is in the Arctic? It's
it's negative like 60 to
negative
70.
8, yeah.
It gets nuts. Yeah. I think the was it the coldest record is like is it in negative hundreds?
I don't know that.
I thought I read that somewhere. I could be wrong.
But the picture of the guy, like,
he's bundled up and
he's got like a freaking polar bear on it.
That's how you survive it there, man. You wear a polar bear.
A couple more viewers are saying Tyra Banks, Michael Jordan. We're trying to stay away from, celebrities.
Well, you are.
Yeah,
I'm not.
I'm trying to stay away from celebrities. Like, I'm talking like real heroes. I mean, I love Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player of all time, but he's just that. He's a basketball player. He wasn't part of the civil rights movement. He wasn't a forgotten American soldier.
Let's say this. Let's say it's not the fact that we're trying to stay away from famous people. We're trying to stay away from famous people who did nothing but become famous.
Right.
Yeah. That actually had that you could consider a role model, and there's not a lot of them around today.
No. Well, I mean, Ben Carson. Out of your list,
no. I'm talking about like celebrities, the celebrity status, movie,
What were you saying?
No, I was just saying. When I say celebrities, I'm talking like movie stars, people who are in movies. There's a difference between being famous because you act, and then being famous because of the things you do.
Right.
You know, that when you're not on camera.
I want to end the episode with this. I saw it, so let's end the episode with this. This is called 10 Little Known Black History Facts, and this is available on pbs.org. Well, I want to give the site full credit. But I read this the other day when I was looking up Doris Miller, and I saw it, so I wanted to bring it up. Before there was Rosa Parks, there was Claudette Colvin, which I talked about her today.
Mm-hmm.
Martin Luther King Jr. improvised the most iconic parts of his I Have a Dream speech.
Really?
He improvised them.
Wow.
Inoculation was introduced to America by a slave. Think about that for a minute.
Well, that makes sense, though. That makes sense. I mean, they knew the dangers of not being susceptible to disease.
This one's going to blow your mind. This one's going to blow a lot of people's mind. The earliest recorded protests against slavery was by the Quakers in 1688.
Yeah, man, those Quakers, they had some good oats.
Oh, this is a sad statistic. Of the 12.5 million Africans shipped to the New World during the transatlantic slave trade, fewer than 388,000 arrived in the U.S.
Well, did you see how they shipped?
Yeah.
I mean, it was literally laying on top of each other.
Yeah.
You know? So.
And I've never seen Roots or I've never seen Amistad or anything like that, but like historically, I've went and looked, and dude, they treated them pretty much like cargo, like boxes.
Well, they were. I mean, they literally traded. That's why they call it the slave trade. They were goods, you know. So they didn't view them as human beings. They viewed them as goods. And that's a horrible, horrible thing. And you know what? It's a thing that still goes on today.
Yeah.
You know.
And it's not just blacks, it's Jews and white.
Well, if we're talking about slavery, everybody since the beginning of time has dabbled in it.
Absolutely.
The African slave trade is just the most recent,
and it's one of the most
the largest. Yeah. But I mean, they still have it. Middle East, man, they still do it around there, and
yep,
it's you know, they have a lot of people. Oh, this was slavery. This is bad slavery. This. Before you start having that argument and saying we live in a horrible country,
go over there.
Yeah, go solve some slavery issues over there.
Right.
You know, because that shit's still going on.
Yeah, it's not gone.
No.
Did you know 1 in 4 cowboys were black, despite the stories told in popular books and movies?
Yeah, black, and I want to say Mexican.
Mexican.
Yeah.
Esther Jones was the real Betty Boop.
Really?
So Betty Boop, I got to read this.
Really? I did not know that. The boop boopy doop.
Yep.
Betty Boop.
The iconic cartoon character Betty Boop was inspired by a black jazz singer in Harlem.
I can see that. I can see that.
Boop, boop, be-doop. The first licensed African American female pilot was named Bessie Coleman.
Bessie Coleman, you just talked about her.
I mentioned her earlier.
Yeah.
Interracial marriage in the United States was banned in 1664 and not overturned until 1967.
You know, that makes me think of remember when we did our alien episode? I want to say one of the first documented cases of abduction was from a couple that was an interracial couple. Really? Yeah. I have to go back and look up their names, but yeah.
That sounds awfully suspicious.
I'm telling you. I you know what? While you do that, I'm gonna look that up.
Well, that was the last one.
Oh, okay. Well, this is till next time.
Well, no, I mean, hurry up, look it up, because I'm sure our listeners and our viewers want to know.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna hurry up and look this up.
I mean, okay. That's really crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Abducted first recorded
alien abduction.
Here we go. Yeah, Betty and Barney Hill.
Yep. So you were right.
Yeah, damn right. I'm always right. We talking about nugget of knowledge and information right here. I kick ass in Trivial Pursuit, by the way.
So these are the top 15 most celebrated people for Black History Month. I'm going to go over it. Claudette Colvin, Bessie Coleman, Harriet Tubman, Ella Baker, Martin Luther King Jr., Rosa Parks, Maya Angelou, Muhammad Ali. How do we forget freaking Muhammad Ali?
Yeah, we kind of drifted away from sports though.
Yep. Barack Obama, Frederick Douglass, Webb Du Bois, Jackie Robinson, Booker T. Washington, Sojourner Truth, Madam C.J. Walker, Langston Hughes, and Malcolm X. Well, I think that was like 20.
Yeah.
So those are the most celebrated, the most recognizable, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So in conclusion, what would you say about today's episode?
I'd say that you think you know a lot about people and their accomplishments, and when you take a step back and start doing a little research, you find people that you've never even heard of.
Absolutely. Well, this has been a great episode.
Yeah.
I definitely loved learning about some of these people.
Yeah, me too.
They definitely should be celebrated.
They should.
So from all of us at the Question Everything guys, we thank you for tuning in to this episode. From your host, Sean.
The Mick.
And we're still live. But that was great, dude.
Yeah, man.
Now, if any of our viewers would like to call in, now would be the time you could call in and talk with the QE guys. Simplify Rob is not here. He actually is here. He's just sleeping. So if any of you guys want to call in, now would be the time. Call in. Talk to us.
And you got 30 minutes.
You got 30 minutes.
30 minutes. I'm going to take me a quick smoke break, though. Don't play Metallica.
I'm not going to play Metallica. Jackson, I definitely appreciate all the comments, bro. I do want to give a shout out. We got a viewer from Frankfurt, Germany, Andy. Thank you so much for tuning in to the QE, guys. We definitely appreciate it. Sorry, we were recording the episode. Usually we'll start before we record the podcast episode. We'll interact with our guest, and after we'll take calls and everything like that. So if you're still listening, you would like to call, the number's at the bottom of your screen. I do want to say also, we have a suicide prevention hotline, or you can text if you don't want to talk on the phone with anybody. It's scrolling at the top of the screen. If you're having suicidal thoughts, please don't hesitate. Your life is worth something. Call that hotline, and they will help you. Especially our veterans. Love our veterans. This show is definitely, Simplify Rob is a Marine, so we definitely support the veterans, and thank you for your service and your sacrifice. Aaron, do you want to call in and talk about today's episode or anything? Call the bottom of the screen. You know the number you called last week. Come on, Mr. Jackson. Give us a ring. Oh, and thank you, Michael, for abolitionists. Yeah, dude, that freaking word, man. Abolitionists. There you go. I said it right for you. Oh, oh man, today's episode, I hope it was freaking educational for you guys, because I'm still stuck. Dude, ever since I've heard Henry Johnson's story, dude, I've been so intrigued by that man. He fought off a raid of German soldiers and sustained 21 wounds and beat them. Like, hand-to-hand combat. Not with a gun. Hand-to-hand combat. That is freaking incredible. Come on, Jackson. Phone ain't ringing. Jackson. Man, there's a massive delay on this. Mick stepped out for a quick break. We'll be online for about 30 more minutes. If you guys have any comments, questions, concerns, bitches, moans, gripes, complaints, call the number at the bottom of your screen. Talk with QE guys. My whiskey. I couldn't drink it while we were recording the show because I didn't want any background noise, but man. Gotta love whiskey. It's all American. Jackson, who'd you mean Cleveland? Oh, Cleveland. The Cleveland show. Cleveland Your Hero. That's funny. That's kind of funny. Even though he's voiced by a white guy. Man, oh my good. I can't believe we freaking didn't bring up Richard Pryor. That dude was iconic. Richard Pryor was fuck. Have any of our viewers ever seen Richard Pryor live? Or are any of our viewers that old? I would love to know how that comedy show went. Or Mitch Hedberg. Oh, or is it Hedberg or Hedgeberg? Hedberg, I think. Come on, Jackson, call in. I'm waiting on you. This show was definitely awesome. Mick kind of brought the current heroes to the forefront, and I kind of went in the past a little bit. Definitely enjoyed it as far as hearing, the present and, the black heroes that we should celebrate and the past ones. And there was some that I've never even heard of, like the Henson Arctic Explorer guy. Like, that was pretty incredible. I never knew that. So a black man planted the U.S. flag at the North Pole for the very first time in 1909. I want to give a shout out and thank you to everybody that commented on the live feed. Thank you so much for all the support. Definitely appreciate it. Oh my goodness. Who's the one viewer? Oh, I'm the only viewer. Well, I guess we're going to end the show now since we don't have any more viewers. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Also, if you're watching us on YouTube, you can follow us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/the QE guys. Or if you're watching us on Facebook and would like to go back and see the whole show, you can go back on YouTube and look up the Question Everything guys and check us out. We're also on Twitter at the QE guys. We're also on Instagram at the QE guys. Add us. If you're listening to us on our podcast, do us a favor, leave us a review, subscribe to us, leave us a like, comment. We definitely appreciate it, and it helps us out tremendously. So from all of us at the Question Everything guys, we truly thank you for all your support. We're going to sign off and see